The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Earth ship Venture *. Captain Daniel Howard stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the strange alien vessels approach. His ship. "They're hailing us again, Captain," said Communications Officer Diane Miller. Her voice was steady, but Daniel could hear the tension beneath it. "Open the channel," he replied. The main screen flickered to life, showing the now familiar face of the Ardreni ambassador. The alien's blue-gray skin and 4 eyes still made Daniel uncomfortable, though he'd never admit it. "The conclave delegation is ready to board for final negotiations," the ambassador said. "Please prepare your reception area." "We're ready," Daniel said with a nod. The screen went dark, and he turned to his first officer. "Sam, you have the bridge. Lisa and I will handle the reception." Sam Bradley nodded. "Good luck, sir." Daniel walked through the ship's corridors toward the diplomatic suite, where Lisa Winters was reviewing notes one last time. As Earth's chief diplomat, the weight of humanity's future rested partly on her shoulders. "Ready?" Daniel asked. Lisa looked up, tucking the strand of blonde hair behind her ear. "As ready as anyone can be to negotiate with 7 alien species at once." They walked together to the docking bay. 5 years ago, humanity had detected the first alien signals. 2 years ago, they had established basic communication. And today, Earth would officially join the galactic community. The airlock cycled open, revealing 7 representatives of the galactic conclave. The Ardreni led the group, flanked by the insectoid trill, the massive Bororians, and 4 other species humans were still learning to identify on sight. "Welcome aboard the Venture *, Lisa said, giving the greeting gesture they had been taught. High Chancellor Ziv Kol of the Ardreni stepped forward. "We bring greetings from the 7 worlds of the conclave. Today marks a historic occasion." The delegation moved to the conference room, where screens displayed images of Earth and its achievements. Daniel noticed how the aliens studied these images with unusual intensity. When everyone was seated, Lisa opened the talks. "We're honored to discuss Earth's place in the galactic community. We bring scientific knowledge, cultural diversity, and a desire for peaceful cooperation." For 2 hours, the discussions seemed productive. The aliens shared information about trade routes, resource-rich systems, and technology that made Daniel's engineering team salivate. Then the conversation shifted. "Of course," High Chancellor Ziv Kol said casually, "as a protected species, humans would benefit from conclave military supervision. Your ships would be retrofitted with proper technology, and your resource-rich planets would be managed by conclave oversight committees." Lisa's smile froze. "I'm sorry, protected species. We were under the impression this was a negotiation between equals." The room temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. The Bororian representative leaned forward, his massive form dominating his side of the table. "Equals? Your species has barely achieved basic space travel." With respect, Daniel cut in. "We developed our FTL drive independently. We've colonized Mars and established bases throughout our system." "Impressive for such young ones," the Trill representative chittered, mandibles clicking. "But the galaxy is dangerous. Unaligned worlds often become targets." Lisa's eyes narrowed. "Are you threatening us?" "Not at all," Ziv Kol said smoothly. "We're offering protection in exchange for certain concessions." "What concessions exactly?" Daniel asked. "Minor things: control of your military forces, monitoring of your communications, rights to extract resources from your outer planets, standard protectorate terms." Lisa and Daniel exchanged glances. This wasn't what they had expected at all. "We need to consult with our government," Lisa said carefully. "Of course," Ziv Kol replied. "Though I should mention, the last species that declined our protection no longer exists." The meeting ended shortly after. As the aliens returned to their ship, Daniel watched them from the observation deck. "They're not looking for allies," Lisa said, joining him. "They want servants." "Or slaves," Daniel added grimly. Lisa's communicator beeped. It was a direct message from Earth's Security Council. She read it and looked up at Daniel. Our orders are to refuse protectorate status and return home immediately. Daniel nodded. I had a feeling they'd say that. He turned toward the bridge. Let's hope the Conclave takes rejection better than they implied. As the Venture broke orbit and set course for Earth, none of the crew noticed the small tracking devices the aliens had left behind, or the Conclave ships that followed at a discreet distance. Humanity had made its choice, and the galaxy held its breath. 5 years passed quickly. On the surface, Earth carried on as if nothing had changed. People went to work, children attended school, and politicians argued about taxes. But beneath this normal life, humanity prepared. Commander Ethan Murphy stood in the control room of Sirius Base, hidden deep inside the largest asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. Technicians moved around him, monitoring screens and adjusting controls. No one spoke loudly. Everyone knew what was at stake. Status report, Ethan said to his second-in-command. Kate Miller nodded and pulled up a holographic display. Shipyard 3 is at 90% capacity. The new shield generators are being installed on the last batch of frigates. Jupiter Station reports all weapons platforms are operational. Ethan allowed himself a small smile. When the Venture returned 5 years ago, with news of the Conclave's true intentions, Earth's nations had done something unprecedented. They united. The Bastion Initiative was born, turning the asteroid belt and Jupiter's moons into humanity's secret fortress. Any sign that the Conclave suspects what we're doing? Ethan asked. None so far, Kate replied. Their diplomatic ships still patrol the edges of our system, but they haven't ventured past Mars. The stealth field around our operations is holding. A message alert blinked on Ethan's screen. It was from Dr. Amanda Kelly on Mars Research Station. He opened it immediately. Commander, breakthrough confirmed. We've successfully reverse-engineered the shield technology from the alien debris. Efficiency is 20% higher than their original design. Sending specs now. Ethan forwarded the message to production. This was exactly what they needed. 3 years ago, an accidental collision near Mars had left behind fragments of alien tech. Amanda and her team had been working on it ever since. The door slid open, and Susan Porter walked in. As Director of Earth Intelligence, she rarely left her underground office on Earth. Her presence here meant something important. Commander, she said, her voice low. The observation posts beyond Neptune picked up something. The Conclave is gathering ships, more than we've seen before. Ethan's jaw tightened. How many? 43 at last count. They're trying to hide behind Pluto's orbit, but our quantum sensors detected them. Time estimate. If they maintain current speed, 3 days until they reach Neptune's research outpost. Ethan turned to his console and opened a secure channel to Admiral Frank Webster of the 5th Earth Defense Fleet. The Admiral's weathered face appeared on screen. I heard, Frank said before Ethan could speak. We're already moving into position behind Triton. They won't see us until it's too late. Remember the protocol, Ethan cautioned. This is a warning shot, not a full engagement. We need to show strength without revealing everything we've developed. Frank nodded grimly. Understood. The ships appear outdated on the outside. They won't know about the hybrid tech until we fire. After the Admiral signed off, Susan stayed behind. Do you think it will work? Making them believe we're just strong enough to be troublesome, but not so advanced that we're a true threat. Ethan looked at the map of their hidden bases spread throughout the solar system. It has to work. We need more time. The colony ships for Alpha Centauri won't be ready for another 8 months. On his screen, a blinking dot showed a Conclave diplomatic vessel approaching Earth again. These visits had become more frequent and less diplomatic with each passing month. The aliens always brought the same message: join the Conclave as a protectorate, or face isolation and eventual subjugation. They're so confident, Susan said, watching the alien ships approach. They have no idea what's waiting for them. Ethan's face hardened. That's their weakness. They think they know us, but they don't understand humans at all. When cornered, we don't surrender. We prepare. Susan finished. In the vast shipyard hidden within Cirrus, workers attached the final plate to a new destroyer. On its side, someone had painted words from an ancient Earth general. If you know yourself and know your enemy, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. The Conclave was about to learn this lesson the hard way. Neptune's blue surface shimmered below as the Ardrani attack fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. 12 warships moved into formation, their weapons already charging. The largest ship, bearing the marks of an Ardrani flagship, led the way. Inside that flagship, Commander Vexlor watched the small human research station orbiting Neptune with contempt. It was barely the size of a Conclave scout vessel. Pitiful, he said to his second-in-command. The humans have had 5 years to prepare, and this is all they manage. One small station with minimal defenses. Should we hail them first? His officer asked. Vexlor's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, an Ardrani expression of amusement. Why waste time? Fire a warning shot near their station. Let them know the Conclave's patience has ended. The order went out, and a beam of energy shot from the flagship's forward cannon. It passed close to the human station, close enough to make the humans panic, but not close enough to damage it. Now open a channel, Vexlor ordered. On the main screen, a human face appeared, a female with short brown hair and a blue uniform. This is Dr. Lynn Davis of Neptune Research Station. Why are you firing on us? Vexlor stepped forward so the human could see him clearly. I am Commander Vexlor of the Galactic Conclave. Your species has been given ample time to reconsider your foolish rejection of protectorate status. The Conclave's patience has limits. The human woman's face showed no fear, which annoyed Vexlor. I'm a scientist, not a diplomat, she said calmly. But I've been authorized to transfer you to someone who can discuss this matter. The screen changed to show a human male in a military uniform with stars on the shoulders. This is Admiral Frank Webster of the Earth Defense Force. You are firing on a civilian research station in Earth territory. Cease your aggressive actions immediately. Vexlor laughed. Earth has no territory beyond its atmosphere without Conclave recognition. You have 1 hour to surrender this station and prepare for Conclave occupation forces. The human admiral's face remained expressionless. I suggest you check your sensors again, Commander. Something in the human's tone made Vexlor uneasy. He signaled to his sensor officer, who immediately began scanning the space around them. Sir, the officer called out, his voice rising. Something is emerging from behind Triton. On the tactical display, blips of light began appearing where empty space had been seconds ago. 1, then 5, then 20 ships materialized from behind Neptune's largest moon. Impossible, Vexlor whispered. Our scans showed nothing there. The human ships looked crude compared to Conclave vessels, but there were far more of them than should have been possible. Humanity was supposed to have only a handful of space-worthy military vessels. Last warning, Admiral Webster said from the screen. Withdraw from Neptune space immediately. Vexlor felt anger replace his surprise. The Conclave does not retreat from primitives. All vessels, attack formation. The Ardrani fleet moved forward, weapons charge. The human fleet held position. Fire, Vexlor ordered. The Ardrani ships released a barrage of energy weapons. Many hit their targets, but instead of exploding, the human ships glowed briefly as shields absorbed the blasts. Sir, their shields are unlike anything in our database, the tactical officer reported. They're using some kind of adaptive energy absorption. Before Vexlor could respond, the human ships returned fire. Their weapons were a strange hybrid, combining projectile launchers with energy-focusing arrays. The result tore through the Ardrani shields as if they weren't there. 2 support vessels exploded instantly. 3 more reported critical damage, and something hit the flagship, causing the lights to flicker and gravity to fail temporarily. "Report," Vexlor shouted as he floated above his command chair. "Drive systems offline. Weapons at 20%. 2 escort ships destroyed, 3 disabled." Admiral Webster's face reappeared on screen. "That was a demonstration, not our full capability. We are not interested in war, but we will not be subjugated. This conversation is over." The transmission cut off. Through the viewports, Vexlor could see the human fleet turning away, ignoring the damaged Ardreni ships as if they posed no threat at all. It was the ultimate insult, and the clearest message possible. Humans would not surrender, and they were far more dangerous than anyone in the Conclave had believed. News of the Neptune battle spread quickly through the Conclave. The Ardreni tried to hide their defeat, but too many crew members had witnessed what happened. Some called it a lucky human victory. Others worried it meant something more. On Earth, General Olivia Martinez walked through the underground command center in Denver. Screens around her showed the status of Earth's forces throughout the solar system. What caught everyone's attention were the red icons moving inward. "They're pulling back," said her aide, pointing to the display. "Every outpost beyond Jupiter's orbit is being dismantled." Olivia nodded. "Right on schedule. How are the evacuations progressing?" "Ahead of schedule. Mars colony is down to essential personnel only. The lunar bases have transferred all research and manufacturing equipment to Earth. It looks like we're running scared." Olivia allowed herself a small smile. "Good. That's exactly what we want them to think." In reality, Operation Exodus was moving according to plan. Earth's most valuable technologies and brightest minds weren't retreating. They were relocating to hidden bases deep within the asteroid belt and beneath the surfaces of several moons, places the Conclave would never think to look. In a secret lab hidden inside Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon, Peter Williams made final adjustments to his latest invention. The quantum engineer had dark circles under his eyes from lack of sleep, but his hands were steady. "Try it now," he said to his assistant. The woman activated the device. A small sphere of light appeared above it, then stabilized. "Signal strength?" Peter asked. 100%. No degradation." Peter allowed himself to breathe. "Send the test message." His assistant typed a short message and pressed send. 2 seconds later, a console on the other side of the room chimed. "Message received. Perfect clarity. 0 delay." Peter closed his eyes briefly. They had done it. The quantum communication network was operational. For the first time, humans could communicate instantly across any distance without using the traditional signal methods that the Conclave could detect. "Alert command," Peter said. "Tell them Whisper Network is online." Across the solar system, similar breakthroughs were happening in laboratories and testing facilities, hidden from Conclave observation. New weapons, better shields, faster ships, all developed by combining human ingenuity with what they had learned from studying Conclave technology. On the Conclave homeworld, the leaders of the 7 species met in emergency session. The large circular chamber echoed with angry voices. "The humans are retreating," said the new High Chancellor Drex of the Vulturi species. His gray skin was tight across his skull, and his voice silenced the others. "Our scouts report they are abandoning their outer system outposts and falling back to their homeworld." The Trill representative clicked his mandibles nervously. "But what about the battle at Neptune? Their ships had technology we haven't seen before." "A desperate final effort," Drex said dismissively. "They know they cannot win against the full might of the Conclave. They are buying time to strengthen their inner defenses." A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber, showing Earth's solar system. Red dots indicated the human outposts that had been abandoned or were in the process of being dismantled. "They think like prey," Drex continued. "When threatened, they run to what they believe is safety, but there is no hiding from the Conclave." He gestured, and the hologram changed to show hundreds of Conclave warships gathering at the edge of Earth's solar system. "We will assemble the largest battle fleet seen in a millennium. When we arrive, the humans will see the futility of resistance. They will surrender or be eliminated. None of the representatives objected. The decision was made. The full might of the conclave would descend upon humanity. Back on Earth, Olivia Martinez received confirmation that the conclave was mobilizing its fleet. She immediately sent a single-word message through the new quantum network. Countdown. Throughout the solar system, hidden human bases acknowledged the message. The final phase of humanity's plan was about to begin. Not a retreat, not a surrender, but something the conclave could never anticipate. A disappearance. The massive conclave invasion fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Over 300 warships formed a wall of metal and energy, their weapons ready to fire. High Chancellor Drex stood on the bridge of the flagship, his thin lips curved in what passed for a smile among the Vulturi. "Begin long-range scans," he ordered. "I want to see how the humans have prepared their defenses." The sensor officers worked at their stations. Minutes passed, then more minutes. The bridge grew quiet as the delays stretched uncomfortably long. "Well," Drex finally demanded. The senior sensor officer looked up, confusion clear on his alien face. "Chancellor, we can't find them." "What do you mean?" "Earth is right there." Drex pointed to the star map. "Yes, the planet is there, but—" The officer hesitated. "There are no signs of civilization. No orbital stations, no defense systems, no ships, nothing." Drex stared at him. "That's impossible. Send scout ships immediately." 6 small, fast vessels detached from the fleet and accelerated toward the inner solar system. The rest of the fleet waited. 1 hour passed. Then 2. When the scouts finally reported back, their messages were strange and disturbing. "Mars is abandoned. All domes empty. Lunar bases deserted. Equipment gone. Jupiter stations missing. Not destroyed. Missing." The most unsettling report came from the scout that visited Earth itself. "Planet appears uninhabited. Cities empty. No power signatures. Automated messages broadcasting on all frequencies warning of hazardous conditions due to containment failure. No sign of battle or destruction." Drex couldn't believe what he was hearing. That's absurd. An entire species doesn't just disappear. They must be hiding somewhere in the system. He ordered a full search. For days, conclave ships scoured every planet, moon, and asteroid in the solar system. They found nothing but abandoned outposts and automated warning messages. On Pluto, the furthest outpost in the system, Lieutenant Kevin Rogers sat alone in a small control room. He was the last human in the solar system, chosen for this final task because he had no family waiting for him. On his screen, he watched the conclave ships searching frantically for signs of humanity. A timer on his console counted down. 5 minutes remaining. Kevin opened a channel that would broadcast to every conclave ship. "This is Lieutenant Kevin Rogers of Earth Space Command. We know you're listening." On the conclave flagship, Drex heard the transmission and rushed to the communications station. "Trace that signal to any conclave ships in the Sol system," Kevin continued, his voice calm. "We choose to walk away. Do not attempt to follow." 2 minutes to veil activation, an automated voice announced in Kevin's control room. "What is veil activation?" Drex demanded, though he knew the human couldn't hear him. As if in answer, Kevin spoke again. "For centuries, humans dreamed of meeting other intelligent life. We hoped for friendship, cooperation, and shared knowledge. Instead, you offered us subjugation. 1 minute to veil activation. So we made a choice, not to fight, not to die, but to simply leave." 30 seconds to veil activation. Drex shouted at his officers, "Find that human. Now." "We've had quantum displacement technology for years," Kevin said, "not just for ships or people, but for entire worlds." 10 seconds to veil activation. "Goodbye, conclave. Perhaps in 1,000 years we'll meet again, and perhaps by then you'll have learned to respect other species." Kevin pressed a final button and closed his eyes. Throughout the solar system, hidden devices activated simultaneously. A wave of energy rippled outward from the sun, washing over each planet, moon, and asteroid. To the watching conclave ships, it appeared as if reality itself flickered. When the wave passed, everything looked the same, yet instruments showed nothing but ordinary planets in space. Every trace of human civilization, even the automated messages, had vanished. On the conclave flagship, alarms blared as sensors failed to make sense of what had happened. Officers shouted reports and questions. In the midst of the chaos, Drex stood silently, staring at the view screen showing Earth, peaceful and apparently untouched. An entire species had just disappeared before his eyes. And for the first time in his long life, High Chancellor Drex felt afraid. 20 years passed. In the official records of the Galactic Conclave, the Sol system was listed as a restricted zone. The public announcement claimed the area was contaminated by failed human weapons technology. The truth was simpler and more frightening. The Conclave leadership was afraid of what they couldn't understand. No ship was allowed within 2 light-years of the system. Automated warning beacons floated in space, turning away curious travelers. The humans, as far as the average citizen of the Conclave knew, had destroyed themselves rather than submit. Few questioned this story. After all, what other explanation could there be for an entire species vanishing overnight? Deep in conclave space, on a remote research station orbiting a gas giant, Dr. Nex of the Trill species worked late into the night. His insect-like appendages moved swiftly over complex equipment as he tried to solve a difficult problem. The station's primary computer system had been malfunctioning for weeks, unable to process data quickly enough for their research. "It's hopeless," his assistant said, mandibles clicking in frustration. "We need a new system, but the supply ship won't come for another 3 months." Dr. Nex didn't respond. He had fallen asleep at his workstation, exhaustion finally catching up to him. When he woke hours later, he found his assistant staring at the main screen. "What is it?" Nex asked, his voice groggy. "The computer. It's working perfectly now. Better than before. Look at these processing speeds." Nex moved to the console. It was true. The system was running faster than he had ever seen. "Did you fix it?" "No," the assistant said. "I thought you did, while I was getting food." They checked the system logs. During the night, someone had accessed the core programming and completely rewritten it with impossibly efficient algorithms. But the station was isolated. No one had entered or left. Similar strange incidents began occurring across conclave space. A mining colony on a barren moon found its failing life support systems suddenly repaired by technology that shouldn't exist. A transport ship lost in an ion storm discovered its navigation computers upgraded with star charts more detailed than any in conclave records. Each incident was investigated and dismissed as an anomaly. No one wanted to consider the alternative, that they were not alone. In the shadows between stars, far from conclave observation posts, a sleek black ship moved silently. Its hull absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making it virtually invisible to standard sensors. Inside, Captain Julie Patterson checked her instruments before opening a secure channel. "Spectre to Phantom Base. Another gift delivered. Mining colony now stable." A voice responded through the quantum communicator. "Acknowledged, Spectre. Return to base for next assignment." July looked at the small screen showing the mining colony growing smaller behind her ship. 300 Barorians lived there, including 60 children. Without the life support repairs, they would have died within days. "Why help them?" her first officer asked quietly. "After what the Conclave tried to do to us." July had asked herself that question many times over the years. "Because we're human," she finally answered. "And despite what they believe, that doesn't make us cruel." Her ship accelerated, then vanished as its quantum drive engaged. Thousands of light years away, in what had once been unexplored space, Ryan Cooper put the finishing touches on his greatest achievement. A network of quantum-linked gates now spanned the galaxy, allowing instant human travel between systems while bypassing all conclave detection methods. Final node connected, he announced to the crowded control room. The assembled engineers and scientists cheered. On a massive view screen, a map showed the position of every human settlement. 37 self-sufficient colonies, all hidden from conclave sensors. Hundreds of stealth ships. Millions of humans living and working in secret. The network is complete, Ryan said with pride. From this day forward, distance is meaningless to humanity. No one in the conclave suspected the truth. Humanity hadn't fled in fear or destroyed itself in despair. They had evolved beyond traditional existence, becoming ghosts that moved throughout the galaxy unseen, watching and waiting. And occasionally, when compassion demanded it, helping those who had once been their enemies. The first attack came without warning. A conclave border colony vanished overnight, all communications suddenly silenced. When investigation ships arrived, they found only ruins and strange crystalline formations where buildings once stood. 2 more worlds fell within a month. Each time, the pattern was the same: sudden silence, followed by the discovery of crystal growths consuming everything in their path. The conclave military was caught completely unprepared. High Chancellor Drex, now in his final years of leadership, called an emergency council of the 7 species. His once proud posture was bent with age and worry. The ancient texts were true, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The scourge has returned. The council chamber erupted in fear and disbelief. The scourge was considered a myth, a story told to frighten young ones. A crystalline hive mind that consumed all in its path, unstoppable and merciless. The last appearance was 10,000 years ago, the Ardrani representative argued. It can't be the same threat. The description matches exactly, Drex replied. And our weapons have no effect on their ships. News of a 4th attack reached them during the meeting. This time, it was the Volturi homeworld itself under siege. Drex's own people faced extinction. Massive crystalline ships appeared in orbit around the Volturi planet. Defense platforms fired everything they had, with no effect. The crystal ships began landing, disgorging swarms of smaller crystal entities that spread across the surface, absorbing everything they touched. In the capital city, the remaining Volturi prepared for their final hours. Children were gathered in central shelters. Soldiers stood ready for a hopeless last stand. Through the transparent dome that protected the city, they could see the crystal tide advancing across the plains. Then something impossible happened. A fleet of ships materialized in orbit, ships that matched no known design in conclave records. They moved with impossible speed, firing weapons that actually damaged the crystal vessels. The newcomers positioned themselves between the scourge ships and the planet. On the lead ship, Admiral Hannah West stood calmly on the bridge of the Defiance *. 20 years of living in the shadows had changed humanity. Their technology had evolved far beyond what the Conclave could imagine. All ships, engage with phase disruptors, she ordered. Target the central mass of each crystal vessel. The human fleet moved with perfect coordination. Beams of energy that seemed to bend reality itself struck the scourge ships. Where they hit, the crystalline structure broke down, dissolving into harmless dust. On the planet below, the Volturi watched in shock as unknown saviors fought to protect them. The crystal tide on the ground slowed, then stopped as their connection to the motherships was severed. More human ships appeared near other besieged worlds. Each time, the pattern was the same: swift, decisive action that drove back the scourge attack with weapons that actually worked against the crystal entities. When the immediate danger was contained, Hannah opened a channel to the Volturi Defense Command. This is Admiral Hannah West of the Earth Fleet. The threat has been neutralized for now, but they will return with greater numbers. Prepare your people. The Volturi commander could barely speak. Earth, but the humans, you disappeared. We may have walked away, Hannah replied, but we never stopped watching. We will not allow extinction, even of those who threatened our own. Before the stunned Vulture could respond, the human ships vanished as suddenly as they had appeared. In the Conclave Council chamber, reports flooded in from all the defended worlds. The mysterious saviors had struck simultaneously across Conclave space, saving billions of lives. And each time, they had identified themselves as humans. Drex sank into his chair, his forehands trembling. "They didn't destroy themselves," he whispered. "They've been out there all along, watching us. And now they've saved us." The Bororian representative leaned forward. "But why? After how we treated them?" Drex had no answer. But for the first time in 20 years, he began to understand the true meaning of fear, not the fear of human aggression, but the fear that comes from recognizing one's own terrible mistake. 1 week after the Scourge attacks, a simple message appeared simultaneously on every Conclave communication system. Summit requested. Neutral location. Coordinates attached. The Conclave leadership had no choice but to accept. Their military was in shambles, their people demanding answers about the mysterious human saviors. The coordinates led to an uninhabited moon in a star system far from any Conclave territory. When the 7 representatives arrived, they found a small structure waiting for them. Inside was a round table with 8 chairs, 7 for them, and 1 more. High Chancellor Drex took his seat, his old hands shaking slightly. The other representatives followed, each showing signs of stress from recent events. They waited in tense silence. Exactly on time, the door opened again. A human male walked in, dressed in a simple gray uniform with no visible weapons. He had short brown hair and calm eyes. "My name is Eric Miller," he said as he sat down. "I speak for humanity." "Where have you been hiding all these years?" the Ardrani representative demanded immediately. Eric smiled slightly. "Who said we were hiding? Humanity has established over 30 self-sufficient colonies across the galaxy. We've been your neighbors all along." Shocked silence followed this statement. The Trill representative's mandibles clicked rapidly in agitation. "Impossible. Our sensors would have detected your settlements." "Your sensors can only detect what they're designed to find," Eric replied. "We evolved beyond that limitation." He touched a control on the table, and a holographic map of the galaxy appeared above them. Dots of light indicated the location of human colonies. Some were in unexplored regions, but others were shockingly close to major Conclave worlds. "How?" Drex whispered. "Why?" The how is simple. We had already developed quantum displacement technology before our first contact with the Conclave. Your threat accelerated our plans. Eric's voice remained calm. The why is equally simple. Humans never wanted war or dominance. We simply refused to be controlled. He looked at each alien face before continuing. Our withdrawal wasn't fear. It was protection and evolution. We needed freedom to develop without the stifling Conclave hierarchy. A door opened, and a human woman entered carrying a data pad. "This is Dr. Nicole Bennett, our chief researcher on the Scourge." Eric introduced her. Nicole placed the pad on the table. "The Scourge isn't a natural phenomenon," she said. "It's a weapon. A bioweapon created by the Conclave leadership 5,000 years ago to eliminate uncooperative species." The representatives erupted in denial and outrage. Drex looked shocked, then ashamed. "It's true," he admitted when the others fell silent. "Not this leadership, but our ancestors. The weapon was designed to be controlled, but it evolved beyond its creator's control. We thought it had been destroyed. It went dormant," Nicole explained. "Now it's awake again, and it remembers its original purpose, to eliminate threats to Conclave dominance." "Can you stop it?" the Bororian representative asked, his massive frame seeming to shrink with worry. Eric nodded. "We believe so. Our phase disruptors can break down its structure, but to eliminate it completely will require cooperation. Your knowledge of its original design combined with our quantum technology." He looked at Drex directly. "This is the moment of choice. Continue as enemies or work together as equals." Drex stood slowly. For 5,000 years, the conclave has expanded through intimidation and force. We believed it was the only way. He bowed deeply to Eric. We were wrong. Humanity has shown us another path. One by one, the other representatives stood. The Trill, the Bororian, the Ardrani, and all the others. Each acknowledged the human representative with gestures of respect from their own cultures. That day marked the formation of the new Galactic Alliance, founded on principles of autonomy and cooperation rather than dominance. After the formal agreements were signed, High Chancellor Drex approached Admiral Hannah West, who had joined the gathering. "Why save us after all we did?" he asked quietly. Hannah looked at the old alien with gentle eyes. "Because walking away taught us something important. Being human isn't about where we stand, but about the choices we make when standing anywhere. And today, we choose to stand with you." The galaxy, which had held its breath when humanity walked away, finally exhaled. And in that breath was the promise of a new beginning.